Hey, and welcome to the Reset Podcast. Everything you need to know that your therapist probably never told you. Researched by experts, real-life experiences. This is Reset.
As you know, I got back from a big trip I do every year. Fly fishing, Montana, Idaho, no Wi-Fi.
No wives.
No wives, no Wi-Fis, no cell phone reception, just four dudes drifting down a drift boat, fly fishing for wild trout with two crazy and wild guides, which they're a hoot and a handbag. Is that called handbag? Handbasket?
Are you 80 years old?
I don't know. Fly fishing.
Hoot in a handbag.
Yes. Well, all I'm saying is something wild occurs on this trip that I think no wives believe it, which is
it one of those like what stays in Las Vegas? What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas?
I think it's more of the process, which is you get four guys, four dudes. We have no phones, no TV, nothing. And we just have deep conversations. And it just reminds me where men do desire deep intimacy with other men when it comes to talking about stuff outside of just work, just our roles as husbands, fathers, and just talking about stuff that we, not necessarily regret, but like things we should have done differently, things like that. But it's interesting when you strip us of these, I hate to say distractions, but TV and all that kind of stuff, all that's left is us talking. And I'm telling you, we probably laughed the hardest we've ever laughed in the last 10 years. Like we were crying. You see my cry laugh.
I was actually just imagining it as you were talking.
And my cry laugh is real. But I was just thinking about how much men need this. And so we walked away from it thinking, man, we need to do this every year, which we do. But how much we really do crave such this opportunity, not just be with nature and just reset our minds and just reset our behaviors and just reset just so much of our belief system when it comes to us as men as whole. But it just reminds me about how many men probably don't even have these opportunities and they crave them deeply. I think about when I came back, everyone was like, how's your trip? And I started talking to them. And the moment I said no Wi-Fi, no cell phone reception, they're like, are you kidding me? I'm in. I didn't even tell them about the grizzly bears. I didn't even tell them about like the screaming eagles above us. I didn't even tell them about, the rapids and going through. And it's just like, you just feel like your life's on the line, but it never is because the guides are always great.
So what I hear is that people actually want an out/excuse to live part of life without having to be connected to a digital world.
Well, I just think so many men have a hard time escaping the temptation of checking emails and phone calls. And that the kids we were forced to be in that for 4 days, to be forced to be put like in this bubble. We all were saying how beautiful it was, how much healthier we felt. We all went to bed at 9 o'clock. We woke up around 5:36 naturally, and we're just hanging out, having coffee and talking. And then we go fishing for 8 hours. We come back and we just relax, we eat, and we talk until 9:30, which seems pretty late. But when you have no Wi-Fi and no cell reception, it feels like it's really late.
You've always said men connect through activity. So you were on the river all day. You were connecting with recreational intimacy on the river.
100%.
And then got to connect just sitting across from each other, just speaking and talking, which was this beautiful natural transition to that. This is the part of our show where we talk about our opinions on the things that we observe. Observe and then respond, don't worry, you cannot be wrong. It's all about the way that your mind works. Observation feedback.
As you know, I am not a hobby guy.
It's true. You don't buy a bunch of stuff to make collections of things like surfboards or golf clubs or
I don't surf. I don't snowboard. I don't golf. I try and think all of my buddies do as well.
You do those things for fun, but you're not like I have to go every week because this is my hobby. This is my thing.
It's about once every 5 years I'm averaging. And so I think I find myself a hobby later on in life. And yeah, I think because you saw the bank account.
Yes. And I think you're actually using our child on this one.
I am totally using my kid as an excuse. But for some reason, I don't know where I've been, but Legos have amazing Lego sets.
Can you actually say that again? What have amazing?
Lego.
Thank you. There's no S. It's Lego.
Oh, is it Lego? I thought it was Legos.
It's if you are talking to a true Lego fan, you never say you're going to go play with Legos. You say you're going to go play with Lego.
You see, I learn something about you every day. I didn't realize you're a big Lego fan.
I'm just a big fan of saying things correctly.
And I'm a big Legos fan, I think.
Lego fan.
I know you're a Lego fan. I'm a Legos fan. I'm talking about these Lego sets take me days to do. You're right. You thought it was a great opportunity for my son and I to come together and build something together, which I didn't realize was really Lego sets is a one-man gig. Maybe you have one guy or girl do the hunting for the part, and the other person builds, but let's be honest here, being the hunter is not fun at all.
So how do you feel that your son is taken over when you're working? Does it make you upset, or are you excited because it's being built?
So that's what's starting to bug me, is the fact that I start the thing, which is really the most boringest part, is the foundation of any Lego set. I go work for 8 hours. I come out of the old office, and then half of it is like done. Like it looks so good. I'm just like, what is going on here? And then the next day I try to work a little bit before I start work. 8 hours later, the kid has it done. So he's really taking away my thunder when it comes to it.
Your hobby.
It is. Totally is. But here's the whole point about it. Here's what I realize about these Lego sets is that it is so much fun to actually do them. Like the journey of doing them is so much fun. Looking at each part we have to do, each step we have to do, it honestly is so gratifying. It's like instant dopamine hit every time you do it. Now,
Instant stress and depression for me.
The stress part of it is when you have a missing part.
Yes.
But we'll get to that in a second. But then I realize the worst part about it is when it's done. The final product is the biggest letdown. Because you spend all this energy, all this time, all 350 steps to do it, and you realize the fun was in the process of doing it. So it's just a good reminder. I was thinking in my head, like trying to teach my kids about just life lessons and everything, including Legos or Lego.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that the process, being process oriented is so important in life versus being result oriented. And this is a good example. I tell them it is about enjoying the process, understanding that jumping in the trenches, working things out during the time, that is the fun time. That is the enjoyable time. But the end result is kind of like, what's next? What else can I do? And that's where we're at. We get done with these and we're like, we're going to put it out. I'm like, I have no idea. But the next question is, what's the next set we're going to do?
They just keep showing up on the doorstep, and they are all at least 15,000 pieces or more. These are not small Lego sets. These are ginormous. You just bought the Millennium Falcon.
I did, just because we're getting to the stage of our life with our kids where Star Wars has meaning.
It's true.
Then I find a hobby that has Star Wars connected to it. This is just me teaching my kids how to follow directions, how to follow steps. When they say, I can't find a piece, try again. And they try and they look. Organization.
Actually, they just call me into the room.
That's true. That's true.
There's something in that to a new set of eyes.
That is true.
You're looking and looking, and there's like this beautiful analogy there too, right?
I am telling you, there's so many lessons in Lego sets. I'm a huge believer of it as a parent. Them seeing their hard work being done, the organizational skills. We first had this thing where you just pour it all out on the table. Then we have bowls. Then we have like small parts.
Lego is really kind, and they give you different bags when it is a extremely large Lego.
Can you imagine if you get a box with 20,000 pieces? You had to go through all that.
Isn't that how it always was, though, when we were kids?
I don't know. I grew up with the Lego was just random.
That's right.
colors.
You didn't ever play it. I play it or build.
Do you play?
I remember
Who
my brother.
plays with Legos? No one plays with Legos.
I did. So my brother would build them, and then I would come in with my little baby Polly Pockets, and I would play with them.
I think a Lego is more for like a model.
Our kids play with them.
Well, hold on. Our daughter's obsessed. She only does one thing. She's obsessed with doing the people. And then she likes to pretend that people have stories behind them.
I think she's me. I do not enjoy Lego. I enjoy when they're a bunch of pieces and I can build whatever I want. 0 directions. Directions give me anxiety. I look at the booklet and it stresses me out when it's trying to show me what piece goes where. I don't understand it.
And I just think there's so many lessons that we could teach our kids with Legos. Once again, we're not sponsored by
Lego.
Okay, no,
They're not going to sponsor you after how you're pronouncing it.
It isn't. But here's the cool part about the company that I didn't realize until one of my friends told me this, which was I was really upset because somehow we keep on losing like a single piece on these big sets, which I later found out majority of these large sets are always missing a piece. You contact Lego and on the website and you say missing piece, and they basically say, I quote them, doesn't matter if your dog ate it, doesn't matter if you lost it or you vacuumed it up or we forgot it, we'll replace it for free. They have sent us 3 parts for free. So, I mean, they stand behind. I mean, I get it. To me, we're paying overpriced shaped plastics, but they stand by it. Like, for anyone that's out there, you lose a piece, they don't care. They'll send it to you for free, and they're super apologetic about it. And so I'm standing behind. I don't know where I've been about this whole Lego company. I'm on it. A little tidbit. As you know, I love my documentaries. There's a documentary about Lego on Netflix where basically Lego was going down under. Long story short, was going down under like in 01, 03, 04. I forget when it was. And they decided to license out Star Wars stuff because that one weird episode 1, which is an awful Star Wars movie, came out. And it totally saved Lego. Here's also an interesting part about Lego. Lego has 0 patents anymore on their stuff. So anyone can knock them off, or knock them out at the same time.
It's kind of violent.
This is what happens when we tape podcasts at nighttime.
It does.
It's podcast after dark, and maybe we should call it that. But the fact is that no one can knock them off because their name, Lego.
That's true.
Although maybe my name might be Legos. I come out with a new company.
Oh my God.
No one ever buys a single Lego. It's always Legos. And I recommend the documentary. I definitely recommend. When
did you watch that?
You know, man, I think I watched this probably about, I think it's 4 years ago.
Oh, like a long time ago.
Yeah, but it didn't stick with me.
I thought maybe just recently because you've gotten really into Lego lately.
No, but now it's like, it's one of those things now. It's kind of addicting. The process is addicting.
See, not for me.
Once the final thing's set, like right now in front of me right now is what?
The Home Alone house.
The Home Alone house.
And you also just finished
a haunted house.
Haunted house for Halloween.
Yes, and then we have another box.
The Home Alone one is sweet. Well, so is the haunted house one. They're like these aren't just. They're very difficult.
I'm trying to tell you, don't step on my hobby. Actually, if you step on my hobby, you really hurt your foot because Legos do hurt a lot.
What is happening? Anyway, moral of the story: process matters, and reading directions are important.
Reading directions, organization. All that stuff matters. Great lessons by Lego.
Now back to the show.
It reminds me of just the greater metaphor of life where let's take like a husband and wife. And let's say every day they go snorkeling. And when they go snorkeling, while they're snorkeling, they're oh my gosh, like in their own like eyes and pointing like, look at that fish, and they're snorkeling together. When they get back on the boat, there's not much to talk about because they were kind of did life through the day.
They experienced it together.
Yes. But if you take a couple, husband and wife, and they go snorkeling in separate parts of the island, and they come back on the boat, they're like, oh my gosh, you won't believe this what happened. The shark came, it was crazy, and out of nowhere, this barracuda came, and it's like, no, you won't believe this. Where I was at, there was this like turtle that came, and they start sharing their experiences that are occurring away from each other. That's when intimacy occurs. That's when it's coming in. And so what happened in this trip was you had 2 boats. And so one goes ahead and then the other one follows. But we can't talk to each other because we're fly fishing almost 200 yards in front of each other. So it's like, hey, have fun, guys. And, you have your partner, you go. And at the end of the day, we came back to this house and we were just telling fish stories and just remind me of that metaphor of a couple of things. I think, first of all, the aspect of enmeshment in relationships and codependency, you just don't have those moments where you come back to the boat and talk about how was your day, what happened, oh my gosh, crazy stories. Number 2, I think the aspect of how much it is good to have balance in relationships and for even couples to have opportunities to have some guy time, some girl time, or just experience different things, sometimes not always together in terms of, like I was playing that softball league. And then I think also, just like you're talking about, is for men specifically, how much easier it is to connect when we talk about a shared experience and connecting through it. And I just think how important that is just in life in general when it comes to relationships.
To be put into a situation that is so intentional, we only have 4 nights, 5 days, or whatever it is. There's also this really neat kind of, I don't want to call it pressure, but this time frame of there's this beautiful, you've set aside this time. It's sacred. It's beautiful. It's just the 4 of you. Like nobody else is included in it. It's a really special moment. That's why vacations are really important. I think it creates this margin to just experience things with either your family or friends or somebody else.
Well, I just think the beauty of memories and moments, and try to do as much as you can as when you can with friends and family and that kind of stuff. I will end it with this, is by far the best part about these guides that we had is they give you nicknames. And I don't know what happens. Maybe it's just for guys, for the dudes, but man, when you get a nickname, the nickname sticks. It's like a pet name. You tease each other with it, but it brings all, I mean, it's actually 6 people total with the 2 guides. It brings us all together. I mean, we had my buddy, his nickname was Magic Mike. And it's kind of, it's like for no obvious reason, by the way. Then another guy's name was J Dam, just for some fun reason, no idea. And then I was called the influencer at one point because they thought that I was an influencer, which I'm not. But they called me Harbinero.
Oh.
Because they thought my last name was Haradin.
It is, theoretically. Well,
I guess it is. It is true versus Jardine. And then the last day, they named me. I feel like they had to name someone something different every day. But then they call me the journal because all we talked about is journaling. Because, every time we're in front of people, we got to talk about journaling. So after every catch, hey, why don't you go journal that one out, And then the sad part, but yet funny part, was the 4th guy. And his name is Greg, and his nickname was Greg. And so for some reason, like they gave everyone all these nicknames and it's just Greg, which is funny because we only know Greg as his nickname. Like Greg has the nickname from high school. And so it's kind of like Kramer and Seinfeld, where it's like no one knows Kramer's first name. No one knows Greg's first name until he was introduced to the guides. And it's just, no, his name is Greg.
Wait, what does everybody call him?
Stormy.
That's what I thought. Because when
the storm's coming in. Watch out. It's going to be a stormy day. I mean, there's some good stuff with that nickname. But it just goes back to it reminds me of like sports.
I was just going to say
pet names. It just brings the team together. And I was thinking about how many times we have so many nicknames for our kids. Oh, yeah. And it just nicknames makes it fun.
Your nickname on Old Man Softball ended up becoming Stretch Lab.
That's right. Because I pulled so many muscles hustling so hard that I got a subscription to Stretch Lab.
It's true, people.
Stretch Lab for almost 3 months to get my body to going from a 40-year-old to a 20-year-old again.
He takes softball seriously.
I do. And so Stretch Lab is back.
Let's just say that intimacy is important across the board. In friendships, with family members, with spouses, with your kids. We really hope that you have moments and times where you can go deep with people and you can share your heart and your mind in a safe space and just learn about other people and grow yourself and laugh until you cry and just walk away with memories that are just irreplaceable.
And give nicknames in life.
Yes.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Stretch Lab out.
Thank you for listening to the Reset Podcast. We're so glad that you joined us. If you enjoyed this episode, would you take a moment to leave us a review and maybe even hit that subscribe or follow button? Also, pay it forward by sharing this podcast with a friend. For free resources and to learn more about coaching for individuals, athletes, couples, and teams, go to theresetgroup.com. And we would love to connect with you on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at The Reset Group. See you soon.